The QPR podcast is sponsored by XL Environmental, a pest control company based in Northolt and the South East. They provide for all your pest control needs, along with bird control, hazardous waste removal and ground maintenance. And they're Rangers fans, so if you call them on 0845 11 666 11, mention our podcast for a 10% discount.
Spencer. Danny Maddox has made the run forward. He's lost out and he's won it back. A little bit fortuitous there, Queen's Park Rangers. What can Maddox do with it? He's delivered deep towards Sinclair. What a goal! Trevor Sinclair! 3-1 to QPR. And that is a goal that you will see time and time again.
QPR, Queen's Park Rangers are on the up and up. QPR, now we're heading for European Cup.
Hello and welcome to Open All R's, the QPR podcast. I'm David Fraser and I'm still bored from Saturday. Luckily, I have three fellow QPR fans here to de-bore me and maybe pick over the bones of Saturday. We have, by the way, you would have heard, first of all, you would have heard at the top of the podcast just before the theme tune, if Gabe has edited it right, you would have heard the commentary to a fantastic, iconic goal from QPR's history. We have that man, Trevor Sinclair, on the phone in a little bit, so stay tuned, as they say, because the day we are recording this, not the day that you're listening to it, but the day we're recording this was 19 years from the day since that goal. Right, let me introduce who I have with me, my colleagues. To my left, I have Chris Mendes from ITV Sport. Hi, Chris.
Hey.
And we have Paul Finney from India's.
Oh, hello.
And we have Jim Maberly.
Hello.
Did I get it right?
Yeah.
Maberly from first time.
Yes.
And you sit where? Where do you sit? QPR?
Usually the paddocks.
Usually the paddocks.
Yes.
Why not? Welcome.
Have you noticed this week I didn't do my usual alright because my friend said I sound like a miserable bastard, so I can't say that anymore. I've got to sound cheerful. So, hello, David.
Your friend's very kind to you, saying you sound like one of them.
No, he's only talking about when he listens to the podcast. He knows in real life I am a miserable bastard. So, anyway, carry on.
Sorry, iTunes. That's two profanities in the first minute and a half. But
Not really.
Sorry? Not really? Okay.
It's not worse than some words.
Let me do that was good. Our little game last week was really good. If you haven't listened to the pod, we because Charlie Austin was sold and Connor Washington came in, Austin Washington, we did a pod full of American
We missed out the
puns.
most obvious.
What was the most obvious?
We just played it at New York Stadium.
Yeah, we just played at the New York Stadium, but it was there was quite a lot of action on that on Twitter. Well, we'll have to think up something for this week. Thank you, that car that's just gone past us and has ruined the first few minutes of the podcast. So let me do what I need to do, and then we can get Wolves out of the way and talk about various other things. So if you're new to the podcast, you can follow us on Twitter at QPR Pod. Find us on Facebook, search for the new QPR podcast. Listen to old episodes at qprpod.co.uk. We have a new sponsor this week. You will have heard it at the start of the podcast. We're sponsored by XL Environmental, who are a pest control company. I don't think they can remove any pests. I can think of a few pests in blue and white hoop shirts.
Oh, controversial, David.
From time to time. I was thinking of a particular Portuguese right back. But we'll move on from that. Just to say, they have a 10% discount for all Rangers fans. So if you need anything removed, Paul...
What?
Call 0845 11 666 11.
There's a few Chelsea fans in Barnet. Does that count?
Right. Queen's Park Rangers 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1. Who would like to begin? Chris?
Well, it's another draw. We only need another 12 to break the record for most draws in the Championship division ever.
Did you say we only need another 12?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, 18 games left.
Who's got the record then?
We should go for it. Well, there's about 4 or 5 teams equal. Everton are one of them.
So we could end up finishing in a couple of years having the worst FA Cup record in the country and the most draws ever.
Our goal difference is a 0. Scored 35, conceded 35. Just an average season. That's what it is. And that the game on Saturday kind of summed it up. It was just, kind of nullified their attack. It was a fluke goal, which is probably quite funny for the neutral. Yeah, it just kind of feels like we're just waiting. What they should do now is just plan for next season. And
Well, I wonder if they're doing that. You know how in the Big Boys League, Villa have basically accepted their fate and they're already planning for next season, or that's how I read it. I wonder if we've started doing that already with Austin going and rumours around bids for Phillips.
We're great at plans, we are.
top of the to-do list would be we should find some clubs that actually want to play us in pre-season.
What do you think, Jim?
No, definitely. The pre-season was a complete waste of time. The game, pedestrian first half, I thought, really. Other than the goal, I was bored, if I'm honest. Bored. And my son just looked at me and went, this is awful. And there's nothing worse than your son looking and going, this is awful. We had Wembley, brilliant.
Your wife could look at you and say, this is awful. Sorry. Carry on.
No, I think what's
Not yours.
No,
Not yours. Carry on.
How old's your little boy?
he's 8.
Good you just up there, Chris. Well done.
No, and
Paul's cringing, which is quite weird. I don't think I've ever seen you cringe before.
Really?
Yeah.
Carry on.
Sorry, Jim. Go on.
no, I thought, as I say, the first half pedestrian, second half, first bit of it, we weren't even in it. They went at us. Obviously, they got their fluke goal, picked up near the end, but it was pretty dire, if I'm honest. I didn't enjoy it.
No.
Which that's pretty bad, really. You go there, you want to be entertained at the end of the day, and it wasn't entertaining, was it? It was entertaining in bits. I think that's the thing. I was disappointed, really. I would have liked a bit more gumption in them.
Paul, give us some positives from Saturday.
Brilliant. Yes.
We didn't lose, okay.
I got very drunk. Which is always a positive in my mindset. No, it was...
Didn't lose. Smithy's he's got good handling and good feet, as they say.
I think it's one of those games that it kind of sums our season up perfectly. We're not going to go up, we're not going to go down, we're just going to see the season through, and then we can get a whole new squad again for next season and start all over again. And then, I mean, the best thing I ever seen on Twitter, I can't remember who put it there, is that some fella went on and said when he dies he wants QPR players to lower him into the ground so they can let him down one last time. And I think that's I was sitting beside my mate who'd come down from Stoke with his wee lad, and I was sending in the pub. The trouble I think we've got is that, the atmosphere and the match day experience is null. It's nothing these days, and they get kids to keep coming back and get involved in Rangers and see what we grew up with, the enthusiasm we had. It's going to be pretty hard to do, because basically people are going to the game and going home. There's not really much to have a match day experience. The game itself, I think that although they got a fluky goal, if the truth be told, they could have scored a few more, which is ridiculous considering they were playing, I think, their third and fourth strike rate. They weren't playing and we got embarrassed down the flanks, I felt, time and time again. It suffered as well that I tweeted today was when Tony did that tweet during the weekend about youth, which I take was a kind of a swipe at everyone who's been working in the youth for the last few years. I'm thinking, well, that's fine, Tony, but you're playing one lone player and Perch, you're probably the worst two fullbacks I've had in a while we're given...
What, Perch and Konchesky?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and we've got younger players that are better out on loan, and sold Harriman. So the answers to his tweet is, well, if you put 34-year-olds in front of these kids, where's the route to the first team? You've got to play them.
But yeah, I think the tweet you're referring to is where he said, if people think our youth team's producing good players, then they're deluded or something like that.
Yeah.
But that's more to do with the scouting. He has to put a better scouting network in place to get kids from a really young age now.
We've had 5 academy heads in 5 years. You don't build a youth team with cheap change in the people who run it. You've got to be patient, you've got to give them a chance, and you've got to let it develop. But I think as well, if I'm being honest, Perch was a bad buy. I've seen... He shouldn't be, because at Wigan he was good. But for some reason it's not working out. Konchesky was embarrassed badly, I thought, second half. It doesn't deserve the abuse he got on Twitter. No player does, because you're not going to help players by abusing them. But I kind of think that we need to really stop looking at certain midfielders and bring a few fullbacks in.
Maybe you can help, Chris, being the journalist. I'm not sure Perch is a right back. He's played at right back, but I don't think that is where he's played his whole career. So to have him as our de facto right back, what do you kind of expect?
He's played at the heart of defence as well throughout his career as well. I'm not sure. He's just quite a versatile player. I don't think he should start for us.
And I have to say, look, Saturday apart, I think Konchesky's done okay. I also don't think he's keeping anyone out of the team. Who's he keeping out of the team?
Well, Yun.
Yeah, but he's not. He never seems to be fit, does he? Yun?
There's nothing wrong with him.
Is there nothing wrong with him at the moment? Well, he has had injuries in the past, but
yeah, but so does Brian Robson, but they still played him at United. No, but I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, it looks to me still we're a wee bit unbalanced. I mean, I think Ned and Hall, like I said last week, perfect. They work well. Yeah. I would actually put Henry at right back because he does least damage there. And he will be steady at right back more than he is in the middle of the park. I mean, the thing is about every game we do this, I don't know if you noticed this, right? We run around for like wee short sprints, wee long sprints. Everyone runs in, runs out. Like they come in like waves and they go out. They come in, they come out, and then they spend 90 minutes walking around. So perhaps, you know, there doesn't seem to be urgency there. But I think Wolves were there for the taking. They weren't a good side.
No,
they're down to the bare bones.
They'd lost the previous week.
Yeah, and when the first goal went in, I thought, you know what, this could be a mullet. We could actually, do them. But
it feels a bit like the players know they haven't really got anything to play for. And for the fans, for the last 4 or 5 years, we've either been trying to stay up or trying to get promoted, and now it's just nothing.
It seems strange to not bring on Washington sooner than he did, didn't he? You're going to be up for it on your debut. You're going to really want to score. To bring him on with 8-9 minutes to go,
you're not going to see a lot, are you?
No.
Let's be honest. 8-9 minutes. I could go on for 8-9 minutes. You're still not going to see a lot. Let's be honest. You need to put them on for at least 25 minutes just to get them a decent run out, I would say.
I don't know. Southampton seem to make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, well,
that was horrible watching that on Match of the Day.
I don't know. I wish him all the best. Really, I just think he's always been the quality player. I couldn't believe at the start of the season we were at Charlton. Some Aegis behind me were giving him a really hard time.
Oh, yeah.
Austin,
Yeah, but it's like splitting up with someone, and the following week she shacks up with the lottery winner.
you're on Facebook. You're on Facebook looking to see what they're doing.
Exactly. You're on. That's exactly what Match of the Day was like. It was like watching Facebook, being on Facebook, and seeing her going off on a yacht in Monaco with the new boyfriend. That's what it was like watching Charlie Austin on Saturday night.
It must be crazy to be in his shoes though, because he's gone from kicking around Harlington, going in, doing what he does, and then to be in every single news programme, sports bulletin, back page. It must be a crazy world, football. It really is. But it also shows you that he is cool. And Southampton have really ripped us off, and they should feel morally obliged to pay more money, because that was a transfer fee.
That's the bargain of the season, or if not the decade. That's an obscene little amount not to pay.
They should at least give us a training ground or something.
But I mean, he would have gone for nothing in the summer. That's the problem.
Yeah, but then there's the argument is you keep him then, and hopefully you go up and you make.
No,
I still maintain.
I'm
if
playing
you
devil's advocate.
think Southampton have only paid $4 million for him, you are off your rocker. They've only paid QPR $4 million for him. But Charlie Austin and his agent are well aware that in 6 months' time he would have been a free agent and would have got a signing-on fee of $5-6 million or whatever it is. So do you really think that wouldn't have been part of the calculation and part of the negotiation? So yes,
So
QPR have only got $4 million, but I'm sure they paid a great deal.
But it makes me kind of a wee bit question things, because you've got the likes of Traore and that, who are still at the club, who never play, and who are on longer contracts. The only decent player we get, we put in a 3-year contract. Every other bugger will think it's a 5-year contract or a lifetime. Yeah. And and also we can't play a goalkeeper because he triggers another contract. And whoever
I don't think anybody's that.
No. What I'm saying is, but it just shows you whoever did our contracts. That's a nice beard you got there, David.
Thank you.
Was an idiot. There's no reference to anyone at all there.
Shown back the injury on Saturday, wasn't it?
What, the steward?
Yeah, the steward. Apparently that was a really bad injury.
Apparently he twisted his knee. But to be listen, this is no laughing matter. I am not laughing, right? But I seen the whole thing involved because for some reason I always watch them because they always run along that line anyway, don't they? You must see it better than I do. And they always run along like at a certain time, as if someone's going to go on the pitch, like a player perhaps. I don't know. And your man just took off and went down, but like a pro, straight away. His arm
away.
The arm was up.
I think he thought. I've got this job,
Cameras.
exactly, this is my moment. I can't really be bothered to sort of crouch for the rest of the game. This is my moment to be the centre of attention. So, I mean, sorry, I hope the bloke's all right. I mean...
apparently twisted it. He pulled his knee out of joint. But the thing is, you just imagine at that point Andrew Castle popping up for an advert, couldn't you? Like, have you got a claim to make? Not the saying that you should do, but honestly, you watch it again. The emotion of him banging this, it was properly pro. I'm telling you, he's had his moment in the sun.
Exactly. Well,
good luck to him. I hope his knees are all right.
Okay, I think we're done with Saturday now.
It was a bad knee-jerk reaction to the game, I fear.
We're very good.
I'm not doing more jokes.
Good. 19 years ago today, on the 25th of January 1997. One of the best, if not the best ever goal was at Loftus Road. Well, that wasn't at Loftus Road.
I should have listened.
Was scored by Trevor Sinclair in a cup game against Barnsley.
Martin Allen's volley against Everton was good.
Sorry?
Martin Allen's volley against Everton was good. Mark Falco's against Chelsea was good. Carry on. Sorry, go on.
Well, they're not here.
No,
but right. Trevor Sinclair is. So let's speak to him now. Trevor, we've just spent 15 minutes talking about a pretty dreadful game on Saturday at Loftus Road. We needed some good nostalgia, some good memories. 19 years ago today since that goal. Can you believe it?
I feel so old. That is absolutely outrageous. It feels like it was a couple of years ago, and to hear that it's 19 years, touching on 20, 2 decades, very, very scary.
The weird thing is, I had her name there, and so did you.
Yeah, you had her.
I did, yeah. Okay, unfortunately, that's long gone. I'm trying to bring this style of baldness into the arena and hope that she's on.
So say all of us. You had a long and varied career at many different clubs and played for England and played in World Cups. In terms of moments that people come up to you in the street about, where does that goal against Barnsley fare?
Numero uno. Let's get it right. I've been dining out on it for some time now, and even to this day, people come up to me in a pub or in a bar or wherever, and they'll say, "Wow, that was amazing." They'll buy me a drink. They'll want a photo with me. So, yeah, it's great to be remembered for something positive and something that took people's breath away back in the day.
It was a brilliant goal. To the nearest 100, how many times have you YouTubed the clip of it?
Personally?
Yeah.
Next time you see me, I might have a bigger nose. Usually on a Monday morning when I'm feeling absolutely peeved off and thinking, how am I going to get through this week? I'll just give myself a little brief glimpse of the goal and I'll soon walk out the house with a little spring in my step.
Brilliant.
The thing is, Trevor, I was there like many others, and there was a good few seconds gasped by the crowd. I don't know if you realised that by the time you were mid-air and hit the back of the net, that no one could quite believe you did that. What were you thinking? Because I was thinking that's probably the greatest goal I've ever seen at Loftus Road.
You know what? I think I had a blank out. I just literally, it's like on a golf course. I'm not very good, and when I hit an absolute sweet shot, which is very rare, you kind of think, wow, that felt so good. And as I hit the ball, as I made contact with the ball, because it did come in with, I just thought, that's got to be close. And as I looked up, landed on my back, and it was nestling into the back of the net, I was just, I literally had a blank out. And, it's only from watching the video evidence that I realised what had happened and what my reaction was by just running off with some imaginary pistol in my hand, waving it about West London.
Trevor, you scored quite an acrobatic kind of bicycle type kick for West Ham against Derby as well. Did you practice these type of things in training? Yeah,
it was something that I used to do quite a lot. I think Trevor Francis, all my managers, especially when I was young, when I went to Lilleshall, Dave Sexton, Billy Eyre when I was at Blackpool, and Jerry Francis would always encourage me to express myself, especially in the final third. obviously Jerry brought a lot more discipline into my game and understanding of positional sense and formations, etc., which I believe really did make me a better player. And when I did, after my injury, it really served me well, because I didn't have the same kind of burst of speed after the injury, so it did serve me well, and I was glad that I listened to Jerry. But all my managers encouraged me to express myself, and it would be something that I did in training, and all the lads reacted, in amazement, as we all did, when I hit that overhead kick. In reality, the lads had seen me do that many times, possibly not from that kind of distance, but they had seen me attempt it. Sometimes it landed in rose ed, sometimes it went in the goal, but they had seen me attempt that on numerous occasions. It's something that I used to do quite often.
Brilliant.
Hi Trevor, it's James. I just wanted to ask you, how did you get picked up as your youth footballer?
Yeah, I was at a club called Boundary Park Juniors, which was one of the old boys' clubs. It was if I told you the names that had come through that boys' club days, Nicky Buttons, Paul Scholes, and players, and the Neville brothers. So, it had great recruitment all in mainly around Manchester and Greater Manchester. They used to get all the best young lads, and literally we used to clean up all the tournaments. And even out of my team alone, Chris Makin was in that team. Paul Gerrard, the goalkeeper, was in that team, and a few others that probably should have made it but got lost to all the fun elements like alcohol and women. But we had a talented group, and basically, from about 12, 13, I thought I might have had a chance, and it was always a dream of mine and an ambition. And then I was fortunate enough to get picked for the Bobby Ruffson National School of Excellence, and I lived in Lilleshall for 2 years, which kind of was an apprentice before an apprentice. And then when I got to Blackpool, I felt like I was ready to go straight into the first team, and I literally did.
Trev, we could spend the whole night talking about that goal, but I suppose we better move off it. I know you're all big time these days on Match of the Day and Match of the Day 2 and talking about the Premier League, but hopefully you've still got time to still keep an eye on our results. What do you make of where QPR are at the moment?
Yeah, definitely. I've been down. I went to the Derby away game. I've been to a couple of games at home. I definitely keep an eye on QPR because it's rare, really. I mean, I know I did well at Blackpool and I got my move to QPR, but that's where the majority of the country started hearing about me, and I was given the platform to, show my ability. So I've definitely got a soft spot for QPR. I had a great affiliation with the fans. I think it's in transition. I think it's over recent years. There's been a lot of poor. I wouldn't say management, but there's been a lot of poor decisions made, and a lot of players have come in that, I think we probably all agree with weren't the best signings for the club. And I think we lost a bit of the DNA of QPR for me, and what QPR always became successful at, and that was going to the lower division teams, scouting system, bringing players in that are hungry, young, got a lot of ambition, and giving them opportunities and working with them and coaching them to make them into better players and players that could compete at this level. I think we lost sight of that and tried to get ready-made players that had, done something at other clubs and just paid them much, and they got here and, they had a jolly up, in my opinion. But that's looking from afar. I'm not sure that's what happened, but looking from afar, that's what it looked like was happening. And I think Jimmy's a great appointment. I have to say, I know Jimmy well. I played with him at Cardiff for a year. I know what he's all about. I spoke to him a few times while he was at Burton, because I'm obviously coaching myself, and he's always had an open door for me to go down there and do some shadow work with him and look at what they do and what they're implementing in their training and their philosophies. And I think Jimmy, if you give him time, he will crack it. I think he's all about hard work and teamwork. I think for me, that's the only way to succeed, unless you have got a bottomless pit like a Manchester City and you can just go out and buy world-class players. I think getting that team spirit is massively important. You look at Leicester and what they're doing in the Premier League. It's not that they've got all the best players. I think they've worked with the players they've got, and they've got a tremendous team spirit about them. And they've got a good coach there. They're well organised, and they've got a good game plan going into each game that adapts all the time. And I think that's a real lesson for any team who's not got the finances of the big giant clubs, that you can compete if you do the work. And I think Jimmy's got that same kind of philosophy. And I think if given time, and especially if he gets a summer where he can bring in his own recruitments and players that he wants, instead of working for players that were already at the club, I think you'll soon see QPR stabilising and start heading in the right direction with a younger team.
And of course, Les is big part of the setup with QPR and Jimmy's boss, effectively, and you know him well. Do you think he's the right man to restore QPR to its previous successes?
I hope so. I think he's been given the job on his reputation as being a fair guy. He's not like a swindler, or someone who you associate with going into a club and just trying to pull the pants down for money. I think he's learning as he's in the job, because obviously it's a big job to take on, and there may be a few things that he didn't or wasn't aware of before he took the job. I think he's a quick learner, but I think he's honest as the day's long, and I think he's got the club's well-being at his heart. So I don't think you can go too wrong with Les. You know, he may have made some mistakes in the past, but I feel he's always looking out for the best interest of the club. And again, it's one of them. If the club do stick with him, I feel he'll get it right, and you know, the good times will come back to Loftus Road or a new stadium if we manage to get a move somewhere else.
Trevor, you were saying you were coaching. Are you still coaching with Darren Peacock? Have I got that right?
No, we were coaching at Lancaster City. Darren was really kind, gave me an opportunity as soon as I got back to England. I was living in Dubai for a while, and when I literally landed on the tarmac at Manchester Airport, he got on the phone, gave me a shout, said, "Listen, I've lost my number 2. Do you fancy it?" I went up, met the lads, signed on the dotted line, so to speak, and I had 15 months working with Darren, and then it came to a little bit of a sour end. He fell out with the chairman about wanting to get some better players in for a little bit more money. The chairman didn't want to agree, which is, you know, quite a rare scenario. I'm sure not. And then when he left, I just thought, you know, I was there as a supporting role for Darren, and I didn't really want to put my name in the hat for the manager's job, although I really had a great time working with the players. We were a great bunch. But I thought it was the right time for me to move on, continue doing work with the media and the BBC and stuff, and then I've continued with my education. I'm just about to complete, hopefully, on Thursday I've got my UEFA B final practical. I've finished the pack work, all the assignments, etc. So hopefully if I pass that on Thursday, I will be a qualified UEFA PFA B coach. And then I can go on and, you know, do my A licence. But in the meantime, I've been offered a role at AFC Files, which is a local club in the National North, doing very well. They've got a new stadium going up and facilities being completed in the summer. So I'll be looking to go in there as head of football development and start doing some recruitment, and hopefully lean on a lot of my friends in the game to help me recruit and give me some tips and you know, strategies how to get a successful academy and how to give them players a pathway to get into the first team.
Now, Trevor, I hope you don't mind me asking this, but what strikes me from that is you're a decorated player for England. You've played in the Premier League for at least 3, if not 4 clubs. Played for QPR, of course, but West Ham and Manchester City. You're a very well-known footballer, and there's been a lot of press lately, of course, and a lot of discussion around the opportunities given to black coaches and black managers. You surely can be of use to someone, with all due respect, as they say, to the team in the Conference North. You should be at a league club or a Premier League club, shouldn't you? Is that narrative that black coaches are perhaps not finding it as easy to get in the game something that you found?
I can only speak from my experience. So I'll give you what I think afterwards. But from my own experience, I wasted a bit of time. I was coaching in Dubai. I ended up head of a very, very good academy there called GoPro Academy in Dubai. Very successful. We've got affiliations now with a few clubs in the northwest of England, and players are actually making it back to England, going to boarding school and joining professional clubs. So I think we've set up a good template of a business plan there to give players that are living as expats abroad the opportunity. Then I came back home and I was like 6 years retired, and it's one of them where, you know, you're soon forgotten when you're out of the country and out of sight. And I had to kind of use the media in a way to get a lot of exposure and let people know that I was still healthy, I was still loving the game, and it's been a bit of a long drag. Ideally, because I live in Living, which is around the corner from Blackpool, that would have been an ideal club. It's where I started my career. I signed as a schoolboy at 14, They sold me to a Premier League club when I played 100 odd games. Just got promotion with them when I was 20, and ideally that would have been the perfect starting point for me to go in at a club where it'd be a little bit of a shoe on. I probably wouldn't have deserved it, but if you're talking about friends helping you out and networks and you know what you know is who you know, that would have been ideal. I approached the club, and unfortunately the club don't seem to be interested in getting me involved there. I'm not sure why. I would have gone in there for literally pennies just to get experience and get a feel for being around a football club again, but I think that speaks more about what's going on at Blackpool Football Club, so we'll draw a line under that. So I thought, Darren offered me this opportunity in non-league, and I thought, why not? I started at the bottom as a player, I started in the 4th division. Why wouldn't I do that in my coaching career? Because it's a completely different skill set. And I'm really pleased, looking back at it, I'm really pleased I did, because it's a fantastic grounding. My last professional game was at Wembley in the FA Cup final. And my first coaching session, I was taking a group of amateurs, semi-pro lads, and I stood in dog shit on the training pitch, and I thought, welcome to grassroots football. So it was a good grounding for me, and I think it gave me a lot more determination to want to crack it at this game in the technical area. And I feel I've got something to offer. I feel I get a good response from players of any age group, whether it's youth players, young pros, or experienced pros. I get a good response from them. I feel like I want to create a future for myself in the coaching game. As talking about the question that you asked me about black managers, I honestly don't think it's racism. But what I do think is, a lot of times in coaching positions and key coaching positions at clubs, in key bureaucracy, positions, as in directors, as in chairmen, as in boards. I think majority-wise, they're of ethnic, they're of white people are in them positions, and I think just a way of it's more of a class thing. I think a lot of the players, even today, are from working class backgrounds, and a lot of the people in them positions are not. And the network and the connection's not there. And I think it's one of them where black coaches will be overlooked because they're not mixing in the same circles. And I think it's literally down to that. Then coaches themselves, I've seen it myself. You go in a club, 4 French lads, they'll all sit together. It's a natural thing, and I don't think it's segregation, but I just think you get drawn towards people of the same background as you, and if that's urban, then you'll mix with the black players. But if it's not, then you'll stick to your own, and I think that's what's happened in the coaching world, and a lot of coaches stick to their own, and unfortunately that doesn't involve a lot of black players. So it's not about racism, it's about who you know, and most of the players in key positions are white.
Trevor, I've seen people on Twitter suggesting for you to get involved in the QPR setup. Is that a club that you can see yourself coaching further down the line?
Yeah, listen, it'd be a dream job for me to be coaching at QPR. But realistically, for me to have to up the family, I'm a family man. I'm not going to come down and work 3 or 4 days a week and then come back to the northwest. So if I was realistically going to be going down to QPR, it'd have to be in quite a senior role, and I feel I've got a bit more education to complete before I ever get offered that kind of position. So listen, Les knows where I am. I speak to Les weekly, if not every fortnightly, and see how things are going, how the club is, and ask him a few bits and bobs. I even players at times, he's never taken me up on any of them, but I have recommended players to him. And it's just one of them. If it's meant to be, hopefully once I've passed my A licence and I feel a lot more comfortable with what I'm doing and with my own philosophy and being able to get that across to a group of players, then hopefully one day I could go down there and play a part in getting QPR back to where they need to be.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Trevor, before you go, I just wanted to talk a little bit about England. It was great to see you get a chance at the 2002 World Cup when you replaced Owen Hargreaves and then played really well after that. I just wondered that if you did have the chance to kind of pick your England team at the moment, is there anyone you'd give a chance to in the Premier League that isn't necessarily getting that chance?
Good question. Who would I like to see in that England squad that's not already in there? I've seen quite a bit of him in the Championship, but I feel because the Premier League is saturated with so many foreign players that some of the any player literally playing in the Premier League has got a good chance. But I just think Demarai Gray, I know he's only young.
Yeah.
He plays on that left-hand side for Leicester. He's not played much for Leicester, but even the games he's played for Leicester already, he's shown me that he's got good ability and he's not going to be fazed by it. He's got the raw skill set you need. He's very quick. He's got good technique. And I feel if he was given the opportunity on that left-hand side, it could be a good option. We've seen Sterling do well in that position, but he can also play in other positions. And I think maybe if Demarai Gray was brought in just to have a look at him amongst the squad and see how he fared, I think that would be a good one.
That's right. Yeah, he looked good at White Hart Lane.
Trevor, Chris is a journalist, and he's asking you so he can get a line from you on it. So I'm going to feed you the possible line now with a question wrapped into it. Can Charlie Austin make the Euros this summer?
Why not? I mean, I think I already said that on final score on Saturday after he scored the goal. He's 6'2". He scored 18 goals in the Premier League last season. He scored 10 in the Championship out from 16 games this season. He's a good age. If he's fit and he plays for Southampton for the rest of the season and scores half a dozen, 8 goals, absolutely. He's got different skill sets. I mean, listen, Harry Kane, he's a similar player and he's probably ahead of him. But if you think happens to Harry Kane, who would be the alternative? Listen, I would not hesitate in putting Charlie in there. We all know what he can do, what he did for QPR, and that was an average QPR team. He scored 18 goals, scoring goals from nothing, as we know. And sometimes you need someone like that, especially at international level where chances are few and far between. So if I was Charlie, I would definitely be thinking, right, I'm going to look after myself, I'm going to get as fit as I can, and my main priority would be 1, play well for Southampton, but 2, I would certainly have the Euro 2016 firmly in my sights.
Right. My question is this, Trevor, and I've waited years to say this. What's your squad for the Northern Ireland European Champions? It's only took me 35 years to think of that question, but obviously Charlie also could.
Connor Washington up front.
I would. Now, listen, this one's fantastic. I think the manager, no one gave him a chance really. I think again it comes down to team ethic, believing in the manager's strategies, and they've done outstandingly well. And I think that they've got no pressure on them. No one expects them to do anything. I think they can have a really, really enjoyable Euros. And
don't worry about answering the question, Trevor. The listeners are switching off as we're talking about Northern Ireland.
I'm going to France. I don't care.
Go on, Paul.
Trevor, seriously, that not just that goal, but when you came to the club, we just lost Andy Sint, and we were thinking, how do we replace this master of wing play? And you made us forget Andy for a little while and for quite a long while, and that goal was just amazing. So thank you for everything you've done for QPR. I'd love to see you back at Rangers in some kind of role.
Very kind. Very kind, guys.
And I was drunk for 2 days after that Barnsley goal, just to let you know. So you owe me some serious headache pills.
That made 2 of us.
And Trevor, you may have dined out for the last 19 years on that story. I've dined out for the last 20 years on the fact that I once met you at Preston Road tube station because I think you used to live around there, didn't you? I grew up around there, and the rumour was always that you lived around there as well in Kenton.
Yeah, I used to live at Kenton. Yeah.
There we go. Right,
you're full of knowledge. And you said my Northern Ireland question was bad.
Right, Trevor, thank you. You're always very kind to us, giving us your time. Thank you very much, and good luck with the coaching.
Good luck, Trevor. See you at Rangers soon.
Take care. Bye. All the best.
Take care. Great interview.
What a nice film.
That was a long one. Gabe, how long was that? Do you know what? You're about to ask us what do we want to edit out. Let's not. Let's talk about it whilst we're recording.
Also, tell them about the phone, not our fault.
Tell them about the phone. You're going to say, do we want to edit out Chris's England questions and Paul's Northern Ireland questions? Let's leave him in. Let's send people to sleep.
Yeah,
why not?
I generally want to know what the squad that he will pick.
You are so one-dimensional because I know you asked that so you can get a line for work tomorrow.
Most of our listeners are English,
Yeah.
Ooh.
Right.
You'd be surprised. We're huge in Northern Ireland.
Right, where do we go from there?
Well, the big thing is, do you know what I got from him? And there's a lot of the old players and younger players, and when they come and talk about Rangers, it is the perfection. It's not false. But saying go in 10 years' time, I don't think you're going to get that, and that kind of shows where we've gone wrong recently. And again, I said the other week, we're singing old players' names at away games or other and stuff like that. That's because at least them guys went out there and left nothing on the field. They gave their all, and it'd be great to see Trevor back at Rangers because he obviously has a great affection for us, and he does always talk about us when he's on TV and stuff. And he was quite scathing as some of the players that played for us last season, and I totally agree with him.
It's also about getting people at the right stage of their career. Trevor Sinclair was on the up, like joining QPR was a
big shoes to fill when they sit.
It was a big move for him. He had everything to prove, and he went on to kind of play for clubs who finished higher up for a long. Like, I know QPR got relegated after he left, but he stayed at a high level, played for England, and there aren't many players that did that after he joined the club.
Carlton Palmer played for England.
Different though.
Jody Best played for Northern Ireland. We've always seen one of them.
No, I'm talking about players who played for QPR.
He did,
yeah.
He did, 2002.
Yeah, but I think he was being serious. Forget the Northern Ireland thing.
I mentioned
for a second, but being serious, I think he was another player that didn't actually realise how good he was as well.
True.
To be honest with you, I mean, some of the goals. You mentioned that West Ham goal he scored and everything else, and he scored another cracking goal for Cardiff a few years later as well. And for City. So everywhere he went, he scored a goal that their fans will do what we just did and talk about that Trevor Sinclair goal. Not a lot of people can do that.
Well, it's something he tried. Like he was saying, he tried those kind of things in training.
So did I, but he used to knock people out.
Okay, ours end, I suppose. We've got anything else to talk about? We talked
Forest
a little
tomorrow
bit
night.
Was
Forest
that 32
tomorrow night.
games?
Will that be history? Will that be history by this?
How many games is it? 31. We haven't beaten them in there.
We've never won there ever.
We've never won that.
Really?
We've never won at the City Ground ever.
Oh, right. That must have been a dream.
Ever. And I've been there for every single one because every year I go thinking we're going to
I
win.
wanna be there to
We're
see
going to
us
win. We're going to, including the League Cup 5-2, including the Nigel Clough hat trick.
But it is 31 games that
Mick
we played
Hotford
there.
put the side together. We lost 5-0. I've been there for them all.
We're having a little podcast outing tomorrow, aren't we?
We are a wee bit. But anyway, can I still have my Forest moan? And
Yeah, go on. Is this your ours end or something
I don't
else?
care. And the thing is, it's just a horrible, horrible place. The demon has to be slayed. Let's slay it tomorrow. And we can make a mediocre season, which is never going to happen, into a memorable season by winning the City Ground. Everyone's a winner. Thanks for that. And I'm driving, so I'll be sober.
Ours end. This is the final bit of the podcast where we talk about anything and everything that we haven't yet brought up. Who would like to go first?
Jim,
you haven't spoken for a while now. I mean, that was probably the longest ever phone interview we had. How long was the phone interview?
It was 18 odd minutes.
18 minutes.
You can tell he works on TV, can't you?
Who? Trev? It's good. It's good value.
It wasn't talking about us.
Jim?
Right, I was going to talk about. I was looking for a holiday or half-term club for my son. QPR one. Couldn't find anything.
Right.
Summer, yeah, not a problem. Barnet, who are Barnet? They've got one. Why haven't we got one? I think that's shocking.
So what, they've got like a half-term football camp or something?
Yeah,
that they
and
run?
just something for the kids to do. I think that's quite nice. Gets them involved, gets the supporters for the next generation and stuff like that.
So you're sending him to Barnet?
Well, it's looking that way, unless someone's going to give me a good link that I haven't found.
Well, look, maybe I'll jump to the defence of the club here a little bit, because they do quite a lot for the community, and we've had Andy Evans on before, I think. And
Different remit, though.
Sorry?
Different remit.
Well, in any case, they tend to do a lot, but it does appear to be a bit remiss and a bit of an oversight. So to not have something at half-term, which we do, and I'll talk about in my R's end in a minute.
Lord, David, you're scaring me.
But, it would be nice. We don't want them to going and supporting Barnet, do we?
No, we don't.
Don't think that's going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen.
And I live in Barnet, so they can say what they want. I don't care. You'd have to carry on. Sorry.
Go on, Paul.
I was going to be rude about Barnet Football Club, and I shouldn't be, because they have every right to support that football club in Barnet.
It's our local club. It's my local club.
It is. I once
I
had.
used to go there when I was a teenager. The weeks
Did you?
QPR were, I didn't go to QPR. I'd have a QPR season ticket, and the other weeks I'd go to Barnet for a couple of seasons.
That explains a lot.
Does
Anyway,
it?
I didn't, clearly, but I once got grief at a pub from a Barnet supporter who was like going around the
You
room.
once got grief in a pub?
Yeah, I know, it's
That
outrageous.
does not sound like you.
But he did that ultimate line of like, "Are you a QPR or you're the one?" And I'm like, "I'll take that from some people, but I'm not taking it from a Barnet supporter." Really, seriously, unbelievable. That wasn't my hours in the show.
Great story.
It's a terrible
Have you
story.
got time to tell us it again?
It's one of them stories like you see from I am bored. Oh, you can talk. We should play you the night hour so we can go to sleep with your hours end. Anyway, my hours end is again same thing every week. Atmosphere. What is going on? It's just early Sky kickoff. I get that. Ban Sky for a start. I don't want Sky at Loftus Road any season.
Sound like Massimo Cellino.
Right, okay. Oh no. No.
You just realised who that was.
No, I don't want to be involved with that club. But but the thing is, it's kind of like we're always crapping Sky. We must bore their viewers to death and give us both a break for a while. Maybe 2-3 seasons. Don't go on Sky again. Don't have these ridiculous kickoffs. Let us just play football without the sodden cameras. Because whatever Sky bring to QPR, it's never entertainment and glory apart from the playoff final.
Meanwhile, next home game, we're on Sky, aren't we?
That's kind of where I was going with. Thanks for reading that first.
Well, I thought of you on Saturday.
You what?
I thought of you on Saturday
This is
because I thought the first few minutes of the game where I sit, it was actually quite a decent atmosphere. And then it
Were you in the
tailed
wrong
off.
ground?
Well, I just felt it. That's just what I felt in the first few minutes. Then it tailed off. But I did sort of note that people seem to be up for it because of the Washington factor and all that sort of thing. Jim, what's it like in the paddocks? I haven't sat in the paddocks for years.
It was okay to start with, and then, as you say, it tailed off quite dramatically, and I could have slipped my wrist by the end, if I'm honest.
Maybe we should start playing music during the game. Was that allowed? Or?
Well, fair play to the club. They played Heroes the other day, which I always think would be a good song. But I don't know. I think the club need to sit down with people, fans, whatever, and sort it out because the family stand clearly isn't working. We need to sort that out. I know people like it and they've got every right to like it, but we need to come to a nice compromise where we can kind of both goal ends are quiet and barren.
I never sat in a family stand when I was, I don't remember a family stand when I was a kid. We used to sit in the paddocks. That was a great atmosphere for kids, and you didn't need a designated area. That was, where the hardcore fans are going to sit, that are going to chant and stuff. Everyone should know that, and there are other parts of the ground that are good to sit in. That was a great place to sit when I was 8, 9 with my dad. That was brilliant. I mean, it didn't have the same atmosphere of probably the loft and all that, but it was a nice place for a kid to sit, I think.
Yeah, but I always thought that the whole ground was rocking at times at Rangers. It wasn't just a loft. It was every part. Elsie had his part. Paddock had his part. Suffolk Road their section.
So, Paul, you bring this up often. What's your solution?
My solution is the club get round.
Don't say alcohol.
No, God, I don't think. No, it's nothing to do with that. It's just there's something whether we need to bring the bars back to Africa Road, which involves alcohol.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that because the match day experience. You go into Africa Road, you go up the stairs, you go and watch the game. You can't get food at half time. You can't get a drink because the queues are too long. So you just sit in your seat. You go home. Improve the match day experience. Give the fans something to not just be there for the football, because by God you wouldn't sometimes. But the club would need to do something pretty dramatic because the atmosphere is slowly walking down Uxbridge Road and not coming back.
Or you could just do a competition where to somehow detect decibel level from every fan and just give the loudest one a prize.
Well, should they make the family stand? Is there a way of making the upper school safe from away fans that you could make the lower school end the family area? Because that's never. The trouble is there's no links to the school end because no one sat there, so it doesn't matter. Whereas in the loft you had your granddad, your father, your mother, your auntie, your uncle. There's a history there, so that's why people didn't like to be moved because when people pass away, they're sitting beside them still, even though they're not there no longer. That's the reason why they're at QPR. So you kind of think, I get why people didn't want to be moved, and they get the family connection. And that, I don't think QPR approached that with the delicacy that they should have done. Whereas the lower school end hasn't got that. So we need to maybe focus on that sort of area. But then you got the away fans, so then you have to move the away fans. But we need to do something because there's no atmosphere at either end of the ground apart from away fans.
Do you not think, though, if you put them in the lower school end, really, I think that whole section should be away fans. I think that kills the atmosphere not having away fans.
Do you think so? A load of the
it,
teams in the Championship can't fill.
Oh, true. That is true. But I do think when you've got a team that's going to set out, I think the whole bit should be away fans because I think that adds to the atmosphere. It's my personal opinion.
Why does it need to be either the top or either the bottom is away fans? Why can't you split the school end half and have half up and half down?
Is it separate entrances though?
Yeah,
Isn't it separate? They go
do
in
it in
from
all sorts of
Thatcher and
grounds.
you go
Why
from
can't you?
Elsley.
Why does it have to be one tier is away fans and one tier is QPR? There, why can't you mix it so that away fans are a bit at the bottom and a bit at the
Just
top?
because you'd need it, probably they'd say you'd need a couple of
They do it at
rows,
Spurs,
couple
don't they?
of seats
They
for
do it all
stewards.
sorts. There'll be reasons why they say, but
Yeah.
there'll be all
But the
sorts.
thing is, maybe we should start getting some bars in the ground as well. An idea. Doesn't have nothing to do with alcohol.
Nothing wrong with the bar. Let me go quickly. So we are, my R's end very quickly, in 3 Mondays' time, which is Monday the 15th of February. It's half-term week. One for you, Jim, maybe. It's half-term week, and we're going to do a half-term scheme, so to speak. We're going to do a kids special on Monday the 15th. We're going to have same-ish type podcast, a few of us, but we are going to invite a handful of young QPR supporters in to give us their thoughts on QPR, tell us who their favourite players are, tell us why they support the club. Could go all wrong. Don't think it will. I think it will be a laugh. Paul, you're going to have to behave. Don't look like, what are you even talking about?
I have
No.
a young teenage daughter.
Yes, you do. You do. We're going to have a kids special, and we are going to invite one child, nephew, niece, whoever, of a listener to come on. So what we're asking for is, if you know a young person who would like to come on, would like to kind of get in front of the mic and answer a few questions on QPR and join us here in the studio, we're going to do a competition. We ask either on Facebook or email or Twitter, send us in their name, age, favourite player and why they love QPR, and we are going to pick one person from that list to come in and join us with a few other kids on the 15th.
And if the dads and mothers can buy me a cider, they're a winner. Carry on.
Chris.
My R's end is I just want to congratulate QPR's ladies for proving that QPR can win an FA Cup game.
You're not wrong. You are not wrong.
And congratulations, they're now through to the next round after beating Chichester 4-3 yesterday.
Congratulations to them. By the way, did anyone notice the new signing on Saturday, returning after a long absence? Spark.
Ooh.
Anyone see Spark? Spark the cat.
I thought QPR were missing a spark on
Yeah,
Saturday.
very good.
Well,
Paul was weighing that one up.
No, I know who it is. I'm lucky if I see kickoff. To be fair, it's true. It's a long
Right.
walk from the Crown Sceptre.
Gabe has got a home to go to, as he's
No, he
signalled
hasn't.
to us several times in the last 10 minutes.
He needs to see a dress designer.
No game this weekend, so in all likelihood, no podcast. We will let you know if there's
Share
an exception
predictions
to
for
that.
tomorrow, quickly.
Share our predictions for tomorrow, which 75% of people will know the result by the time they listen to it. Paul,
3-0 Rangers.
Jim,
1-1.
when I think we're not going to win, I go draw, so 1-1.
I think it's going to be a draw. I don't know why. It's just something tells me they're going to draw again.
Very good. Right.
I hate you all.
Thank you all for listening. This has been Open All Hours, a QPR podcast. The QPR podcast is a West 12 Media and Burble Media production. The QPR podcast is sponsored by Excel Environmental, a pest control company based in Northolt and the South East. They provide for all your pest control needs, along with bird control, hazardous waste removal and ground maintenance. And they're Rangers fans, so if you call them on 0845 11 666 11, mention our podcast for a 10% discount.
QPR, QPR, Rangers.